Welcome. This is the 5th episode. What is more likely? Tonight, I've already done the previous 3. This is going to be the last in this cycle, right? This is a 5-episode arc giving you the question, what's more likely outcome? I've taken some tough issues. I've just kind of thrown out a little tease of where I might be on that or what I think about it, trying to play out the both options. So I want you to pick a side, then give an argument as to why. Respond in the comments. I think this could be kind of fun. And I'll follow up with you the following week. We'll see what happens. So tonight's, or the last one, if you will, reset or rebirth. That's the question. Which is more likely? So if you're interested, if you think that might be intriguing, please join me over on the podcast. Follow along, and then we would like to see what you have to say on what you think. What is more likely? Thank you. I'll see you on the other side. So, folks, I think my voice might have dropped out a little bit there. I apologize for that. So, the idea of the reset, it's all the rage for the last several months. I guess it's a kind of an outcome of bad monetary policy and COVID and the way the government basically killed everything. And not just in the States, but nationwide, worldwide. I mean, it's kind of disgusting, right? The people at the top, they got theirs. They're not worried about the rest of us. And I'm not suggesting we need to go take what they have. But what I am suggesting is perhaps it would have been better off if they would have just left us alone. But the reality is they want control. They always want control. And they're always going to do what they need to do in order to maintain or gain control. And once you understand that and you look through the lens of how does this control me or how does this help them control others, things make a whole lot more sense. Now I know right now I sound like I've got that tinfoil hat on, but there are plenty of public announcements of the so-called Great Reset. There are plenty of news articles referring to the Great Reset. I don't have all the details of it. I could recite some of the things I've heard, but basically the Davos crowd, right? The jet set crowd that meets a couple times a year to determine what they think is best for the rest of us. Those are the 0.1 percenters maybe, or the 0.01 percenters. I don't begrudge them what they have. I don't begrudge them their wealth. I mean, most of them have like some title of nobility attached or long family trees. Whether they came about their money legitimately or not, it's not for me to say. Not a concern. But what is a concern is when they won't leave me alone. I just want to be left alone. I think that's what we all want. We just want to be left alone. And the more they push and the more they take and the more they pull things away from us, the more I think they're poking the bear. They're poking in a fire, if you will. See, if we just play along for just a minute, if we say the fire of liberty, which was ignited from kindling in the Renaissance, or the Reformation, if you prefer, and it was stoked to a small fire in the lead up to the American Revolution, and then it burst into a nice bonfire shortly thereafter, and then they put a nice ring around that campfire in 1792. It went. And then you had some things happen in the 1860s that maybe tamped down a section of that fire, maybe corralled it a little more, but the fire was still there, it was still bright, and the rest of the world could see it. And then, the 1900s rolled around, and they maybe threw a little water on it, maybe they tamped down some areas with dirt, so it brought that fire down just a little bit. And, and the Cold War came, and it kind of gave us that nice dichotomy, and we threw a couple more sticks on the fire. We made it a little brighter. Not sure that's a fair analogy, but that's one way to look at it. But the Cold War's over, and we had this thing that happened in 2001, and so we just threw a whole lot of dirt on that fire. We threw some water on that fire. So now we've got just a small little fire. That's all that's left. A lot of embers, a lot of hot coals underneath there because the dirt covered them, but didn't quite smother them out just yet. And while we look at it, for those of you that have messed with the campfire, if you take a stick and you push those hot coals together and you push them around and there's enough wind that comes, that can reignite. And it reignites quickly because it's already hot. It's already coals, right? So it can quickly reburn and rebirth out to a raging fire. And I keep thinking, and I guess some of this is maybe wishful thinking, that the more this Davos crowd, the more the elite of the elite continues to manipulate things and push people and do things, the more likely it is that there's going to be a groundswell of people that just say, not no, but heck no. And no, we're just going to do our own thing, and we're going to be separate. We are going to have our liberty. We are going to be independent of you. We don't need you running our lives. We don't want to eat only plants. We don't want to pretend some genetic mess, goo that you created tastes like beef or chicken or pork. And if you like fish or fowl, fine, but whatever. We're not going to put up with that. We like having a little plot of land that we call our own. We like having our own wheels to transport ourselves there and about. We maybe even have some people that like their DVDs or their vinyl records. We want to own things. We want to control things. We want to have our own little space. So, we have two opposed thought processes here, right? We have the reset created for us, whereupon we're going to basically exist in as serfs or slaves at the behest of our great masters. Think of it as mindless cattle, chattel, sheep, right? We've all heard those phrases. We've thrown them around as pejorative, but that's how the global elite see us. That's how they want to use us. They want us to be nothing more than their workmen. Now, I realize not everybody's going to be rich. Not everybody's going to be successful. I fully realize that there's always stratifications, and I have no desire to go take what is theirs. If they got it, they got it. But I want them to leave me alone. I want them to let me have what I have. I want them to allow me. That seems so weird to have to ask them to allow me. But I want them to respect my right and my ability to perhaps make something more out of what I already have. Perhaps raise more children. Perhaps grow more of my own food. Perhaps build my own house. I don't need them running my life. I would imagine most people really would prefer not to have their life run for them. But the sad fact is there are a large number of people that are comfortable and prefer to be led around and told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And I guess if they're happy with that, they're content with that, I don't begrudge them that. My answer would be move to New Jersey. Well, move to Europe. Communist China is really nice this time of year, I hear. But that's not what I want. And I think there's a lot of people that don't. So the question is, which is more likely? The global elite gets their reset. They get to set the terms for what we're all going to be doing from this point forward. They get to expand and maintain their global dominance at an even greater clip. Or the alternative, and this is, I guess, the direct build out of what I referenced in the previous episode, and I kind of said that from the onset, right? There's enough of us out there that just say, that's fine, global elites. You can do what you want to do. And hey, you people that are comfortable being drones, go right about doing that. but we're going to do our thing. We're going to create our own thing. We're going to create our own independent existence. We're going to expand in our own way. Indeed, we're going to rebirth or rebuild the flame of liberty. We're going to set an example, and we're going to have, essentially at that point, two competing worldviews on display. So really the question is everybody just going to willingly give up? Is everybody going to accept the fate as it's been dictated to them by the global elite? Or is it more likely that there'll be enough of us that say, no, I think we're going to be just fine and we're going to do our own thing? No, we fended off the collapse that I referenced in the previous episode. We started these new communities. We started to rebuild our country, and we're going to just continue right on doing that. And you all can worry about yourselves, and we're going to do our thing. Don't start nothing, there won't be nothing, right? Now, you may have noticed in my opening videos for this, I've been wearing a t-shirt. My t-shirt says, "I'm your Huckleberry." A friend of mine that I used to work with thought it was hilarious that is my phrase, my catchphrase when I'm at work, because whenever they're asking for somebody to do something, I just say, "I'm your Huckleberry," which is my way of saying I'm the guy. I'm going to go do it. What does it need to be? So I am saying with this shirt to the whole wide world, bring it. I'm your guy. I want us to have these opportunities. I want for us to be able to do these things. But perhaps I'm the one that's wishful thinking. Perhaps I'm the one that's got misplaced hope. So, there's your outcomes, right? Are we going to get the reset or the rebirth? Pick a side. Put in your comments. I'd like to see what you have to say, and I'd like to see your reasoning behind it. I would like to build out this conversation. I really think that something can be gained. I know I've got, 15 or 20 listeners per episode at this point, and I know that's not a huge amount, but I would like you to share the show. I would like you to share the conversation that we're working on building here. I would like to do something special. There is no reason why this couldn't be the go-to forum for McKinney or Collin County. And it's not about me, even though it's my show and I named it after myself. It's more about what can we accomplish together. So, please, take the minute or two, pound out a response, put it up, let's talk about this, let's consider what are our options, what can we do going forward. This is the last of the What is More Likely episodes. It should be Friday, the end of the week, and we can look forward to starting something new next week. The election's tomorrow. If you haven't voted, please go out and vote. Yes, the municipal elections are on a Saturday. And we know that from previous elections, roughly 50% of the people show up on election day. So your vote matters, but your vote only really counts if you know what you're voting for. Oh, sure, you can go pull that lever. But if you don't know what you're voting for, why? If you don't know what you support, what's the point? If you don't have a legitimate reason why you're voting the way you're voting, what was the point? With that, this is According to Callus, and I will see you next week. Thank you.